Hello everyone, and welcome back to Let's Play Final Fantasy XIV, A Realm Reborn, and today we're going to be going into Haukke Manor, and as you can see, I've done a lot of leveling on a lot of different classes, because, well, I like leveling different classes, seeing the way they play, you know, learning each individual job's nuances in a dungeon so I know what better to expect. Like, for example, once you play a monk, you realize, as a tank, please don't just start breakdancing in a circle. You know, little things like that, that if you never played the class, you would never know. Or might make the same mistake over again. Now, it should be said, one, that was darn near insta-queue, and two, that this was one of the best groups I've ever had in a pickup group to date in any MMORPG. That probably says a lot about the quality of, you know, pickup groups and MMOs, but this, to be fair, this was a really, really good group. Because I don't know if sub 20-minute runs in dungeons are the norm. In my experiences so far, no, not really. Usually they take like 30-35 minutes. I believe if I timed it correctly, this took 19 minutes, this whole dungeon run. So, you know, that's nice when that happens. But also, it should be said, I love the way Haukke, or Haukke Manor, however the heck you want to pronounce it. I prefer Haukke just because it sounds cooler, Haukke Manor. I know you're probably supposed to pronounce it Haukke Manor or something like that, but that don't sound as cool, man. But the lore leading up to this place, if you pay attention, you will love the lore here if you like, well, anybody ever heard the story of Lady, well crap, what was her name, Bathory? The woman who bathed in the blood of virgins. That one is based around that. Something along those lines. But even without the backstory, this place, I love the layout. I've always loved, like, not evil manors, but manors where, you know, everything's just kind of gone to crap. My favorite dungeon in World of Warcraft was Shadowfang Keep, right? And, like in Ion, I don't remember what the heck it was, but Ion, there was something very similar to this, and I've just always loved settings of this type of, like, dungeon, or what have you. Biggest things are, if this should not come as any great surprise. I know I keep saying, I'm not going to keep saying this, but in my duty roulettes, you tend to run into people that you wouldn't think you'd have to repeat it, but apparently you do. Please don't stand into big AoEs. Please don't do that. It sucks for the healer. But yeah, I think that this run went a little bit faster. It's just because we all knew what to do. I mean, if you look at it, we had a Dark Knight, we had an Astrologian, which says already they've gotten to 50 at least and gotten to Ishgard. So, you know, they have ran this probably hundreds of times. I don't know about hundreds, but they've run it a lot of times. And, you know, I try not to slow the group down. I try not to pull anything extra, like I did in Totorok, which was a whoops. You know, just basic MMORPG etiquette as a DPS. This is, it's one size fits all. I don't know why I used Demolish on a target that was half dead. That was, yeah, whenever I get a dot, I like putting dots up on enemies, right? I like experimenting with it, see how long it has to tick before it's really efficient, which I think with Demolish, as long as it stays up like, what, 4 ticks, 5 ticks? I don't remember, which that was not a long enough time to really deserve it, but, you know, the point here is experimenting with dots and when to use them might slow down a run by like 10 seconds if you put it up at the wrong time, but in the long run it's going to cause you to, you know when to dot and make it speed up faster in future runs. Or something. I don't know. It also helped that the tank was a chain puller. Like, a lot of people do not like tanks that chain pull, but a lot of people like me love it. Because we don't lose our Grease Lightning stacks. This tank gets it. Maybe he has a monk main, I don't know. I mean, he did try to keep us in combat, and I always appreciate that as a monk. I mean, I like slow pulls, I like slow structured pulls, because I'm an old school MMO. I prefer pulling one group at a time, generally. I don't care if it's not as efficient time-wise, it just feels more efficient from an MMO standpoint. You know, it's just, something dies, you know, really quickly, so you can focus on the next one so your tank takes less damage. I'm the old school MMO guy. Is it right? I don't know. It should also be noted, our DPS is hitting 2 different targets, and I realize, whoops, I think I'm in the wrong here. But even if we're focusing 2 different targets, the tank never loses aggro. This is a great tank. All hail the good Death Knight tanks, or Dark Knight tanks. Actually, for that matter, hail all good tanks. Because, even as a DPS, if we screw up hitting the wrong target, I mean, we were still killing them pretty fast. I mean, we weren't just, like, slowly chipping away at the extra thing. We were actually just nuking one at a time, even though we were nuking 2 different targets. Probably still not efficient, but it could have been worse. You ever had DPS that focus different targets, and you're like, are you just auto-attacking? I mean, that's a legitimate question, because sometimes people will just auto-attack if they're on lazy mode, or they're really tired, or had a long day at work, and they're not thinking, you know, but... I don't know. I appreciate a good, solid dungeon run. And this was what this was. This was a fantastic dungeon run. It's too bad that I don't think they were on my server, otherwise I would have friended them afterwards, because this was a good group. Anyway, I believe there are, what, 3 bosses in Haukke Manor? Something like that. There are 3 instances where you can get locked out of your party's attempt, so I call those bosses, where it says the such and such is locked, or whatever. You get what I'm saying here. But the first one didn't really feel like a boss fight. The first one just seemed like a glorified punching bag that occasionally casted spells, because that's pretty much what it did. It wasn't really difficult, and it was a good chance for me to practice my DPS rotation, because that's always fun. So, I mean, you know, it's just... I don't know why there are mushrooms here. I just realized, why in the hell did I never question why are there mushrooms in here? I can see, like, the maid servants, I can see the bats, but mold? Really? I'm not arguing, man. These things were... I don't want to say easy, I mean they were, but this was more just a battle of me and the other DPS going, which one's the other one hitting? And then finally, you know, get the whole thing straightened out and we focus on the mold, but... Yeah, if you don't mark targets, this kind of stuff's gonna happen, tanks, so, you know, if you want to keep that from happening, you can mark, but you don't have to do it as long as your DPS is not stupid, or lazy, or unobservant. I try not to be unobservant. But, you know, that's not, unobservancy is not something you attempt to do in the first place. But yes, tanks, take note, please. Chain pulling is always awesome. Just always make sure to watch your healer's MP. But as you can see, our healer's not running out of MP. This guy can chain pull all day in this dungeon and get away with it. But yes, our first dungeon boss, I said Bungeon boss. Our first dungeon boss, the Manor Claviger, is, like I said, it's pretty much a big punching bag. Get your rotation down, get your rotation ready, and get going, son, because that's really all you need here. So get your dots up whenever you can, and just do as much damage as you can, because as a melee, you're really not going to have any get the hell out of the way moments, because, well, except maybe that, but that's not really that bad. As a ranged, you might get a thing under you have to break your cast, but as a melee, this is easy peasy mode. Seriously, you see all I'm doing, it's just do your rotation, and don't get hit by the big flippin' AoE on the ground. If you can, stun it, but if you can't, no big deal, just don't get hit by it. Yeah, as you can see, our healer doesn't really have to do jack. They can pretty much just DPS, because our tank is taking a decent amount of damage, but it's nothing that one particular heal can't get him back up from. And it's just basically free loot, which is mostly what first bosses are in dungeons, I realize. Basically just free loot, but I don't know. I enjoy long fights. That's why I really gravitate toward the monk. I love just training dummy fights. So I can just go all out DPS and make the fight go faster. Now, if you're new to the dungeon, don't just go through the door that they open in front of you. You actually should be going back through the ivy door, or whatever this is. Yeah, the ivy door. Now, we take a little bit of a controversial route here. What you're supposed to do is go down the stairs. We don't do that. We just take the shortcut, which I don't even know if this is the actual shortcut way of doing it. But I just jumped down after the tank. It's like, well, crap, dude, the tank's going. Worst case scenario, he should already have the aggro down there. But if you do not do this, and you have like an Arcanist or a Summoner, I would imagine, if the World of Warcraft Warlocks or anything like Arcanists in dungeons, I'd imagine if you do that, and you don't desummon your pet first, your pet will probably run all the way down and aggro everything. I don't know that. That's just me guessing. So if you have a Summoner in the group and you're the tank, you might want to just fight the 3 enemies up there and go the normal way. Maybe not. I don't know that. I'm just trying to give advice from my point of view as a new player. And, I mean, it does cut down the length of the dungeon pretty considerably if you skip that. Well, not considerably. You skip one particular, group, but, a group takes, what, 30 seconds, 30, 40 seconds? Just another 30-40 seconds, you can be going somewhere, you know, new. And this is pretty much the last part of the dungeon. People are like, what? We just started. Yeah, this is pretty much like the last big part of the dungeon. Once you get past like the second boss, which is in right through that door, the Carnation door, you have to go all the way around in a big circle or rectangle though. But once you're through with this, the final boss is basically one enemy away. So, you know, it's always fun when a dungeon's almost over and you just started. I'm not even being sarcastic. It really is like a holy crap, how do we go this fast? Like accomplishment feeling for a new player. You get a feeling of, I wasn't dead weight, yay! Of course, I don't know if I am dead weight. I like to think I'm not dead weight because I'm doing decent damage. Things are dying decently fast. I don't know if this is fast. I don't have a basis for comparison for, you know, good DPS, bad DPS in Haukke Manor, but I like to think I wasn't doing too terrible. And this ninja is busy as heck, man. This guy's just spinning and twirling around. I mean, us DPS aren't slacking, really. Well, at least I like to think so. I don't have a parser, so I can't really tell who's slacking, but he doesn't look like he is. That's the golden rule in games like this that don't have a parser. If you don't want to look lazy, look busy. No, don't do that and be lazy and use that as an excuse, please. But it is true. I mean, if you look busy and you're doing decent damage, you can't be doing something too terribly wrong. Oh, by the way, those things have like no health. I was like disappointed that they didn't have more health. Because, I don't know, I just like long fights. That's why I pick a monk. You know, that's what we rev up. A lot of classes have waves up and down for their DPS. Monk is just a straight curve upwards in graphs, or should be at least, due to greased lightning and all the buffs. Of course, if you don't play the monk very well and don't keep your buffs up, that probably doesn't really work all that well. Behold me trying to use Rock Breaker for the first time ever with 4 enemies, because I thought that might be efficient. Was it? I don't know. But I like trying new stuff, see what works. From what I can understand, like 3 enemies or more, like 4 enemies, that's when I start using Rock Breaker. It has to be 6 or more for me to use Arm of the Destroyer, because that thing is just so darn damn weak. It's not even right how weak that thing is. I mean, it does like, what, 40, 50 damage at this point in the game? And it costs like 100 and what, 30 TP? 100 and something TP? I can't really read that right now, but it's not a very efficient thing, but if there's a lot, like 6 or more, it actually is efficient. But I don't use it because we never pull 6 or more so far. But Rock Breaker's pretty good for monks. I can really only give advice on monks and dragoons at this point, and mostly only monk because I don't play my dragoon all that often. Usually just for roulette so I can get blood for blood. I mean, these Manor Servitors, I don't remember them being too difficult. I don't remember them having too much health. Apparently they do have decent health, but... Yeah, see, this is a moment where Demolish is a good idea. Well, I don't know about good, but it was better than putting it on something half health. It just takes... See, whoa, I didn't know True Strike hit for 170 already. Why is that hitting so much? You know, normally True Strike hits like 140, but all of a sudden, boom, 170. Maybe, oh wait, I know what it is. It's because recently Twin Snakes went up to 10% bonus damage instead of 5. That probably helped it a little bit. I'm sorry, I'm thinking out loud now, okay? I like theory crafting about why I did so much more damage there, as opposed to, you know, not. I like learning why things worked and why things didn't work, so I can make a better strategy in the future. And this is the second boss. The second boss, to be honest, I didn't really remember jack about this fight because it was over so quickly. We focused on the Jester first, and then the Steward. I was originally going to focus on the Steward, but then I realized the tank's hitting the Jester, so that's what we're going to hit. Like I said, I don't particularly remember any specific strategies here. Then again, I wasn't really paying all that much attention to what was going on. Simply don't stand in the circles. And that's about it. I mean, I think I do get hit with one of the AoEs in the dungeon, but I don't remember why. I really should have been using Second Wind here, but my tunnel vision sometimes is bad. But our healer's got my back, thankfully. But yeah, if for vague DPS advice, I've already went over this in previous videos, but if you're a DPS and you just want to look to maximize your damage, if you have dots, if it's a boss fight, put them up at the beginning. The only argument you might have for waiting a little bit to put your dots up is so blood for blood, raging strikes, any kind of damage buff is off cooldown. Or Grease Lightning, for example, you could make the argument you might want to wait toward Grease Lightning 3 and then put it up. Personally, I say just put them up right in the beginning, and then when your Grease Lightning buffs are up, then you can reapply it. Is it right? I don't know. That's just the way I do things, but basically keep your dots and buffs up. It's not... I've already went over this, but yeah, that's the end for the Manor Steward. After this, there's a little trick that you should probably be aware of if you're not. At this point, it's better to return, and I got free boots. Yeah, hit return here, otherwise you're gonna have to run, and that just sucks, because you have to run all the way back to the beginning of the place. Behold me not knowing what I picked up. I was trying to equip my legs. Unfortunately, I forgot that they were boots. So no, I didn't end up wearing them, even though I really wanted to. It should also be said the final boss of this place, which we're one mob away from, the final boss from this place is chaotic. It is just a big cluster. And I panicked. I panicked hard. Because when you see what goes on, like the first time through the place, and a bunch of crap just starts happening, and you don't know what's up, well, the best of us panic. I'm not proud of it, and we got through it just fine, but I panicked pretty hard, and I'm ashamed of it, and you're gonna get to witness my shame. To be fair, does anybody that's new in the game, and they go through this fight, ever just go, oh, that's fine, 5 ads, who cares? No, people usually start panicking, I would assume, if you're new. It didn't help that nobody really took the time to explain it, because I assumed they thought I was competent, but they didn't, so I just got to wing it. The thing that you really need to pay attention for, it's a lot easier if you're a ranged DPS, like a Bard or a Black Mage or a Summoner's even better, is that there are 4 candles or torches in the corners, one on each, like, you know, each corner, and you need to turn that off, otherwise AoE damage pulses from what I noticed. And that's not good. Here I am going, oh, wait, well, there's a lamp. I guess I'll turn this one off because I'm right here and I'm a monk. Yeah, as a monk, it's one of those, I don't want to do mechanics. I don't want my Grease Lightning stacks to fall off. I did my one mechanic. I done my job, you know? But around 50% of her health, things start going rather south if you're not prepared for it. Like I wasn't. I thought I was out of that AoE. It turns out that I, in fact, was not. So, yes, Barak is a noob. I didn't actually get out of the AoE, even though I did. I didn't get out of the AoE. Just second wind things. Here I am panicking going, oh god, what do I do? Do I burn down the ads? Do I hit the Lady Amandi? I don't, oh fuck, I'll just hit the ads. You just gotta make an executive decision. You just gotta go with it. If you just start running back and forth going, oh geez, what do I do? You're not gonna get anything done. So even if you choose the wrong option, it's better than not choosing an option, because at least you're doing damage then. But I do shape up a little bit, try and do the ads so people don't just get wrecked. You know, the healer don't just get wrecked. Throw in a little AoE now and again, if you can. And just take the ads down one by one. If you're nervous about this point in the game, about ads in boss fights, just burn them down. You can't really go wrong unless it's a specific fight, which I've not run into yet. Because if you don't take care of the ads, the healer's gonna get the ads for, you know, healing aggro, and that's just not good for anybody involved, really. It should also be noted, you might notice, I don't have my limit break on my hotbar. I realized this about this point, like, oh god. Click it. Why aren't you using it? Alright, that's because it wasn't on the hotbar. Whoops. But that's it for Haukke Manor. Like I said, sub 20-minute dungeon. That was really good. I actually got a commendation out of it, too. Why? I don't know. I guess because I said thank you for the group. I don't know. I didn't do that great. I actually panicked in the final boss fight, but these people were nice. So, if I ever see them again, I will never remember their names, but if I do, by some miracle, I will wave to them because they were really nice and really good people. And after a story cutscene or two, we're going to be calling it a day, because after this, there's a lot of quests. There's not a huge quest chain after this, but there's a quest chain after this. Next time, we will be going to Brayflock's Longstop, the Noob Killer Dungeon. Will I survive? I don't know. Hopefully I will. But thank you guys very much for watching. Hopefully you enjoyed this in some way, shape, or form. And as always, if you'd like to help support the channel and help it grow, you may wish to like or even subscribe. Farewell, everyone, until next time.